Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of an AHEM Moment. Yes, an AHEM Moment. Yes, I'm Caroline Cho.
Eric Cadena here.
Hi, and right now, are you feeling a little under the weather?
It's just allergies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually have seasonal allergies, but there will be times when I do. And they just last like maybe a day or two, and then I'll be good for the rest of the year. So I think this is what I'm experiencing now.
Because you never used to get allergies.
No,
And,
I mean,
yeah.
and it would actually be years in between allergy attacks. So I think this is just the year that I'm getting it.
Anyhow, so why are we here? What are we talking about today? We're talking about fights.
That's right. So I think the greatest fight ever was probably between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier at the Garden. What, no?
Were you there in spirit?
I might have been.
Okay, as long as we're clear, that's what happened. Fights. Well, here's the deal. We don't fight ever, right?
We have discussions.
Never. We never
we
fought.
have conversations that can be quite passionate.
Yeah, exactly. So there it is. Episode over. Have
That's
a nice
right.
night.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Y'all came here for the drama, but that's what we're gonna talk about today.
I mean, there's no drama. Everyone does this. You know, we all go through those periods where we love each other and at the same time want to throw each other out the window.
Yeah, you really? Okay.
Like you've said that to me.
No, I mean, no, I haven't.
Almost.
But the truth is that, all right, so what do you learn from how many years of fighting with each other? Well, a few things, but I will say this. If you've ever watched your parents or if you've ever watched adults fight, I'm just going to tell you right now. And I've said this to kids, actually, to teenagers, who are looking to us for any sort of clarity or advice or, just anything. Does this get better? I'm like, nah, kids, I wish I could give you... I give them the truth. I'm like, you just get better at handling it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And the truth is like, do we fight about stupid stuff? Stupid shit. Absolutely.
Yeah, usually. That's what most of our fights are.
The stupidest shit you can think of, we fight about.
And what's actually really interesting is that we will fight about something that we both are in total agreement on. Right? Oh, the water's cold. Yes, I know the water's cold. Yes, it is cold. I know, I just said it. Yes, I'm telling you that it's cold, and I understand it. And it goes back and forth, and it just escalates. Like, but why?
Yeah, but the thing is, no, we have not fought about whether or not water is cold. I'm sorry. And I'm sure somewhere out there somebody has.
I mean, that's just an example.
But, we do fight about stupid stuff. We fight about, pretty much just like I said, that my biggest trigger for our fights is not feeling like I'm heard. Basically, yeah. And, in our relationship throughout however long we've known each other, our communication has always been on different scales of how we do it. So I'm the one who's pretty outward and verbal, and, you are... How would you describe yourself? Communication.
I'll communicate what needs to be communicated when it needs to be.
If you say so.
Well, and that's and everything is just relative, right? So I can maybe think I need to say this thing right now, whereas you might think I don't need to say this thing right now at this moment. I don't need to say this thing at all, or vice versa.
Well, another thing for me is tone.
Tone.
So, Eric is usually very, how should I say, very much just somebody who is still learning how to unpack about 41 years of life and how to express it. And sometimes the tone might be, it's like, oh, it's not what you said it, how you said it. And That is
That's
so
good.
true, but it's true. It's like, how did
Yeah.
you say it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll just throw this into an example, which is that, like, um, I'm highly sensitive. I'm a highly sensitive person, but has this been weaponized against me? Absolutely, it has. However, I will say to all the other highly sensitive people out there, shout out, the world needs us. They just do.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the truth of the matter is, we're picking up on things that no one else wants to pick up on, or they've basically just been like, oh, you're just so sensitive, blah, blah,
Well,
blah.
it's also bringing to light the thing that no one wants to see or no one wants to acknowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where, because I'm, yeah, I guess I'm sensitive, but also not verbal about it, right?
Right. And I
I
am.
think, yeah.
So,
So like for you, for example, when we're talking about tone, right? I could say, "Well, I hope you have a nice day," right? The message is, right? The words, "I hope you have a nice day," but the
other.
tone is, "I
Mm-hmm.
hope you eat shit and die," right?
Well, I mean, I've never told you to eat shit and die ever. Actually, in like 19 years, I've not
No,
told
of
you to eat shit
course.
and die ever.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I've told you other stuff, but
Well, yeah.
it's yeah. But but I mean, we can laugh about this now, but no,
Yeah, give it a couple hours.
we've but the thing is, we have witnessed, and that's another thing I can say I don't also do. I don't emasculate you when we're fighting.
Oh no, no, that's
I don't.
yeah, like it's crazy how when we're both enraged, like we still respect each other's boundaries.
Sometimes.
Sometimes,
Sometimes.
sometimes. I mean, I like to think, like maybe a good 90% of the time when we are actually fighting or arguing, we know where the lines are for each other and we don't cross them.
Mm.
You try not to
Yes,
anyway.
I was like, I'm not even going to say you haven't crossed my boundaries because you have. And
Well, you cross mine too. But
yes,
I'm just
but
saying. But
you
normally, like under if we're fighting about like, and it's like a quick little argument, I think we, we'll both say our thing, and then that'll be that, right? Um, but when it gets really, really ugly, then we will go after each other's throats,
mm,
um, and we shouldn't do that.
no. And the thing is, we've seen a lot of nasty ass fights. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
like really bad ones that
right.
where you kind of have to wonder. I mean, we did definitely fight. I don't want to say dirtier like when we were younger, but
Yeah, I mean, we definitely took a lot of cheap shots at each other.
yeah.
Um, me more so than you probably, but I think you also had your fair share of shots at me. But yeah, we were also when we were first dating or even before we were engaged, we were still in our 20s, and I think we just had the energy for that sort of interaction, and I don't know, I just would rather not have those sorts of conflicts anymore, as I'm getting older.
So something I learned in therapy, and yes, I'm going to be right out there. Yes, I'm seeing a therapist,
Yeah, me too. Me
and
too.
have been. That's a whole new episode to
Yeah.
discuss that the journey that has been therapy, but
Yes,
mostly
especially when you're children of immigrants
ah
and people of color and whatever.
yes, but that started that journey. The new journey started, recently for both of us with the
Mm-hmm.
current therapist that we're both with.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned was, though, is that your body eventually catches up to you, um, and your emotions, and how, literally your body grows tired of, you know, feeling a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen some couples who really just, we can be positive and say, we can say it positively, like they just have different communication language and all that love language, and we're just like, no. She straight up basically told him to, you know pointed to the bedroom and said, go rest, like you're pissing me off. And we're just like, okay.
It's like we're still here.
Yeah, it's like we're still here, and
Yeah, we're still here.
um, it's astounding, And the thing is, when you're young and out partying, we did this the other night when we were out late in the
Hmm.
city, and we kind of like witnessed all the big dramatic,
Yeah, we were
couple
coming.
fights.
I think we were coming back from seeing a show or something, and yeah, just wandering around and like all these couples on a street corner in New York, and it's like,
It's just like, I hate you, and then she just
no,
kind of
baby, no. It's like that Key and Peele skit.
with Megan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have your jacket.
No.
Yeah, right.
No. And
That was definitely us.
and that was definitely us. That has been us, and I completely admit it. And if anyone out there is saying that was not you, congratulations. Good for you.
And
Good for
yeah,
you.
you're also lying to yourself.
You're But at the same time, it's also, have we fought so hard that we've contemplated, is this for us or is this not for us?
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of our really big fights have ultimately resulted in, because I think we're in the same place where we don't want to fight over little things, and we don't want those little things that we fight over to escalate into like really huge screaming matches where no one is listening to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do have those now, I think they carry a lot more weight to them because
Definitely.
we we've been married like 10 years, over 10 and a half years, and this is like a life commitment that we're wanting to make.
But, what's funny is that, like, I'm sure there's someone out there who's like, 10 and a half years. It's like, listen, to us, that's a long
Yeah,
time.
and we want to make it to 50.
But no, I mean, I'm sorry. So you were saying,
No, I mean, I think what it comes down to now is that we have we asked ourselves openly those kinds of questions. Do we want to continue on with this relationship because this fight in particular was very, very bad? And why is it that we continue to have these fights like this?
well, so the interesting part of that is like, how do we come out of it? I'm like, one of us always corrects. Even if we're mad to the next day at each other, one of us always corrects. What does that mean? We laugh. We freaking crack like nobody's the other. Okay, so our most recent fight, and mind you, we had some pretty stupid ones lately. Um, Pretty much just out of nowhere, you said something, or I can't remember what happened, and
I don't
like,
know. I don't remember.
you said, I'm hot, and you started taking your shirt off, and I'm like, what are you doing? And I started laughing, and I'm like, son of a bitch, no, I'm mad at you. Like, fuck, I lost. Like, like.
No,
But
there's no winning or losing, and that's not a strategy that I implement ever. I like literally was feeling very, very hot and like to a point of almost sweating. So,
but
um,
I mean, again, it's like, but it really comes down to what you were saying. It's just like, so one of my friends who separated from her husband a few years ago, um, had said, she goes, getting up every day, she goes, it's a choice, marriage. She's like, it's a choice. Every day you get up and you decide if, you're doing it together today or you're not doing it together today.
yep.
I've never been divorced, so I'm not sure of this feeling that she's talking about, where she one day said, that she, weighed the odds and said that it wasn't for her anymore with her husband, her now ex-husband. But I do agree with that it's been a choice, and I think we said that to each other, and it was just such a coincidence because it really was. Are we doing life together today, or are we not? And I'm not gonna lie, and this is very personal, but have we reached the brink of wondering if, we need to stay together or not? We did go through a rough patch.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of our more recent fights has been, I think for my part, it's been a lack of presence. Not like gifts, but presence, like not being present in the moment, with Caroline, and being, my mind is elsewhere, or I'm on my phone, or I'm watching something, right, that is keeping me from, having a simple conversation with Caroline, um, and being mindful of how she's feeling and how my actions, um, are making her feel. And I mean, I'm working on it all
Yeah.
the time. Some days are better than others, and some days, like some days, like I just need to turn my brain off, and that's it. Um, but in a marriage, you really can't do that, unless it's okay with, you know your significant other, right? Um,
I mean,
yeah,
I hate actually opening with just saying that. I'm sorry, um, but yeah, I mean, that is pretty much the consensus was that there was a point, and that was scary for me also, where I was like, this guy really doesn't care if I'm here or not, and he doesn't see all the things I'm trying to do for us. And it became just very apparent. This past summer, I turned 40 and I wanted to celebrate it. And like, you couldn't have, you were definitely not very present, and, or not as present as I was thinking you would be. The way
well,
you said that
yeah,
you wanted to be here, and then I was like, okay, then be here and be present with it, because it was not just my birthday, but it was also,
it's like anniversary.
hmm,
Um,
it was an, and when
it's
I
a series of things.
series
Yeah,
of things, but it was also just kind of like, it was the first time I was able to afford to take you on vacation,
right. And
take us both on vacation, because for years you'd been able to do that for the two of us, or we've mutually
yeah, we've
paid for
we
it
figured it
together.
out.
This time I arranged for us to stay at a very nice. Anybody ever been to Disney? You know how much that thing costs. But I arranged for us to stay at one of the really nice on-site hotels. And again, it's just like, I was determined to have celebrations no matter what the attitude was of the people around me. And I'm not sure where you were, but some things were said, and in the
Well,
middle of the trip, we kind of
well,
had
it was
to,
not even just that. It
yeah.
was like, it was a lot of things. I think I was, um, I think a lot of the stuff that I don't say, the things that I don't talk about, um, particularly how I'm feeling about certain things, and especially certain major life events that happened, to us. Um, I never talked about those sorts of things, and, I think it all just started to boil over, and it all came out in the worst ways, and it oftentimes came out as me shutting down, um, which, I never wanted to, and I definitely wanted to be here. Like, I always want to be here with you, and I think that has been a real struggle for me, especially in the last several fights that we've had. That's really what it's been, is, um, you feeling that I'm not paying attention, me telling you that I am paying attention, while simultaneously telling you that I'm paying attention while I'm on my phone, right? So, how much can I be paying attention if I'm not? So I, like, when we talk, I actually do try to throw my phone somewhere else, or just to like turn and like face you, so that way I can be with you, in what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, this is just going to be ongoing. This is not, anyone who says they don't fight ever is.
Well, how
I
come you?
mean, if you really don't, congratulations, you're amazing.
Well,
But
also, I think that's part of just being in love, right? Like,
I,
we I think so, because it's not always going to be like sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there will be difficult times, right?
Well, but people's threshold of what's enough
Yeah,
is
that's
enough. And the thing is, fights where that we grew up around, domestic fights
mm-hmm,
were really, dare I say it, times have changed and what's acceptable, what's not.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the same time, have we? God, I gotta stop saying that. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's
Let's
um,
get a jar for
yeah, fine. I don't care.
you.
I what I do care about is this. In talking about fighting, of course, and then there's actual fights. What you ask yourself really in the end, what's worth fighting for?
Right.
Is it worth the energy? Do you want to talk to each other when you're that upset? And we've also listened to people make excuses for their significant others and their destructive behavior, and
Right.
luckily we have not uh, reached that point with each other, or we've been made aware of a lot of things, or I've made
Mm-hmm.
you aware of a lot of things. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you told me once I cursed too much in front of your mother, and that's probably. And if my parents are listening, they're probably horrified, but it was true. I was what like
yeah,
I
and I'm sure she doesn't care.
but it was also something that bothered you, and I just kind of looked at you like, I mean, we've had this discourse before and early on in our relationship, something we've also had to work through, which was you know expectations being met of our families and what was expected of me as your significant other, and what was expected of you, and we've had fights over that.
Yeah,
um,
we've you if you name it, we probably have thought about it. Um, like it could be something little, it could be something really huge, and chances are we fought over all those things. I think the hardest part about fighting though is how do we move past it? How do we resolve those fights? Because I think that's
it,
all we've
it
ever.
used to be
Yeah,
you sweep things under the rug, and you've admitted this,
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's just easier to move on,
and just like
not having
never.
dealt with it.
Right, exactly.
For myself, I've kind of had to kind of show him, okay, you can say it's not happening, but no, 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 that's not how we're handling it. And yes, women communicate different than whatever
Yeah.
we're gonna say the reasoning is. I was like, people will communicate differently. However, if you are in a relationship and fights are going to happen, and my hope is that everyone found a way to resolve them and move forward, because that really is
Hmm.
the goal, is that you're going to move forward together. But
Yeah.
frankly, if you are getting to the point where it is
Like excessive.
excessive, destructive, harmful, um, and just leaving you absolutely distraught and exhausted over any of it, my hope is that you find some resolution, that you don't have to feel any of that in your relationship, and that you're both deserving of peace. Um,
And I think that's where, for me, was where I struggle to find that resolution. After we fight because I definitely want to move forward, but my moving forward is like pretending like it didn't happen,
yeah.
and I think that's my issue. But
Which is funny because
yeah.
it's like I wanted to deal with things, but no matter how much I tried to like resolve things
Hmm.
within myself, it was just like, we're not getting anywhere. So what the hell is this? Again, therapy is wonderful to
Hmm.
know and helpful
Oh yeah.
to kind of open up that case. For those who say that therapy doesn't work for them, I my
That's fine.
hope is that you will find some way to find peace. Again, just being able to place your emotions in the right place when they need
Yeah.
to be found.
Yeah, and it's really interesting talking to my therapist because in describing some of the things that you and I fight about, I'll talk with him about these things, and then he'll just kind of look at it like, so if you did this, then that would have been like that would have avoided everything. And I'm like, oh snap! Was it really just that simple? Like
Yes.
now I feel so stupid.
And this is actually a new thing that I've told you. I was like, all you had to do was say you
Right.
were yes. It's about late arrival too,
Yeah.
but again, fight or flight. You always, we both are guilty of this, of just, and we had to learn completely with each other and the willingness to learn about it together, in how to approach each other differently. And be patient with each other differently. And I'm not saying we're the end all be all of perfection in this area by any stretch of the imagination, guys. But my hope is, if you, fighting is a very, it's just an ongoing thing. It's going to be an ongoing journey. But just know at the end of the day, you're deserving of a very peaceful, you're deserving to be at peace at the end of a fight, and there hopefully the resolution to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
well,
I guess that's it for now. And
yeah, I'm gonna do what I can for the remainder of the evening to not get us into a position where we have to fight. Because I have done.
Yeah, no, I'm just. Which is interesting. I'm just gonna leave off with this. So Eric, again, I'm very outward. Eric is very, I find out later on in our relationship that apparently it's not that he's quiet. He's just silently observing everybody, and he's judging everybody.
No, I'm not judging. I'm not judging. But I am observing, and I'm noticing patterns, and I'm noticing behaviors, and I'm like legit coming up with all these different scenarios and contingency plans,
Oh my God.
and that's all I'm doing, and for every eventuality, and this is what I spend my time doing, as opposed to actually interacting with people and practicing conflict resolution or whatever it's called. Instead of doing that, I should be
resolution.
Instead of being preventative, I'm being reactionary. So
all right, guys. Yeah. So that said,
yeah.
Thank you for this AHEM moment.
All
right, we will. All right, guys. We will see you for the next one.
Take care.
Bye.